I'm standing out on the deck of a house that I'm about to list here in western North Carolina. And what I'm going to talk about with you is a couple of things that pertain to this property are the views and how those values are determined, and also getting water to your house on these mountain properties. I'm Jon Galbreath, Higher Ground Properties, western North Carolina. My contact information is in the description. You can reach out to me anytime. So as you can see, we've got an excellent view standing out here on this property. It goes from north to south, and as I pan here, that's looking up to the north, and as I come back, you're going to see from this deck right there is to the west, where you've got your sunsets. And then panning down, we've got now off to the southwest there, if you can see those mountains way off in the distance directly above me, those are the highest elevations in the United States east of the Mississippi River. Those are the Black Mountains, which Mount Mitchell is a part of. So we've got excellent views here, excellent marketable property. And for my first 4 years in real estate, I was in an office, and directly across the hall was a full-time appraiser that he worked in the office directly across the hall from me. And I was really lucky to have a lot of conversations with him early on in my career. This is 2019, 2020, and we discussed property values quite a bit. And one day I asked him, I said, how do you determine the value of a mountain view? And he smiled at me and he said, hey, well, it's subjective. And that makes sense, because not all views are the same, and you just can't put an exact dollar on it. Now, when I asked him this was back before the surge of 21, 22, and 23. And so he said, hey, if I'm doing a comp on a property that's recently sold and it's similar to the house I'm looking at, and the property that sold didn't have much of a view or no view at all, and this property that I'm looking at has a view, he said, a good view, it'd be similar to the one we're looking at here. He said, I might add about $40,000 to that property. So since the surge, that maybe that number's gone up, 50, 60, 70, 80,000, who knows what you might add to a property. Now, if we're looking at a house that sold, the neighbor's house, or a house right down the road that's got this same view, and the house is comparable, then we're not going to add any money for a view in that case. So you hear the term $1 million view. Well, there's very few of those. $1 million view would be something where you could see farther than we could see, and then you could see 360 degrees all the way around us. Hey, you might be able to add $1 million for a view like that. But this one here, we got about 180 degrees, and this property is going to get a lot of attention because of this view. And these mountain view properties, in most cases, they do hold a little more value than properties without views. Now, the other thing that I want to discuss that's relevant to this property is getting water here in the mountains. So this house, there's 3 neighboring houses, and they all have the same well. So one drilled well is supplying 4 houses with water. Now, some of these houses have holding tanks where the tank fills, and inside that tank is an additional pressurized system which forces that water into the house at a higher pressure. Now, he said he's lived here for many, many years, never had a problem getting water into his house, so that's a good thing. Another thing you could do is in some places you're allowed to take water out of creeks, and you can put a device down into the creek that'll take the water out, and you can put it through a filtration system, purification system, and then use it that way. Now, you get with your county environmental health department and go through them and research any state regulations that you might need to look over and determine if that's an option for you. The other option are springs. So we've got a lot of springs coming out of these mountains, and they're coming down the mountain, and you can tap into them up there at the spring head. A lot of plumbing companies and well companies will install spring wells. So you can install it, and then there's a house nearby in this same community where there are several houses on one spring well. And you get it in the deed, how you split up the maintenance. So if you have 4 houses on a well, each house can be responsible for 25% of the maintenance, and you get that recorded with the county. And so it's in the deed, and you know, when you're buying a house, you have guaranteed water rights. You know you're going to be able to get water to your house. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I really do appreciate you watching. My name is Jon Galbreath, Higher Ground Properties, Western North Carolina. Have a great day.